What is up guys, Genkila here, and today we're going to be talking about Korea. In 2019 I have traveled to Korea and I went there basically for 10 days, very shortly, and the main purpose was there to look at a BTS concert, and sadly the tickets were sold within an hour, so I went there without a concert. It was not very disappointing, but it was a bit of a shock how quick these tickets got sold out. Nonetheless, I still went to Korea and I just want to share with you my quick experience of going there. The main reason is that a lot of people have asked me on Twitch and on YouTube Live on how it is to be in Korea, because a lot of you guys actually want to travel there and have the question on, is it good? Is it easy to get around? How is the food? How are the people? You know, all these questions, because you guys want to feel safe when you travel to a country. You kind of want to know what you're going to expect once that plane lands. And I hope I can answer 3 of those main questions for you today. Starting with the first question, which was not very popular, but it still came up, was actually how is it to travel within Korea itself? Now, in general, I would say it's quite easy. It is just like any other country. For example, it's the same kind of structure as in Germany. However, it is a little bit difficult if you do not speak Korean. And the main reason is because you don't know whether something is a direction or whether something has a name in it. And that is something that can be confusing at times, especially when you want to buy a ticket. The people behind the counter most likely won't speak English, whether they are shy or they just cannot speak it. That doesn't really matter, but it is something that you need to keep in mind. So if you are going to buy a ticket, whether for a bus, a train, a plane, please keep in mind that you should have some sort of translation ready and make it a little bit easy for yourself, but also for the people working behind their computer screens actually. Going away from the bad part though, I think for the rest, whether I was in Busan or Seoul, I love that all the infrastructures of the railway system are similar, meaning that every metro is color-coded, and I think this is still one of the best ways going. And on top of that, they basically have it in such a system where you know that, okay, I take a pink line to one direction, I know I have to take the pink line back again, which is just making my life so much easier because I don't have to worry about names. I only have to think about what color was the line. However, you can get a little shocked when you go on buses. Buses are primarily in Korean, so the chance that you find someone who speaks English on the bus is very slim, or any of the text being on the bus being English is also very slim. So you really have to use that app for guidance. You have to know what bus number you have to take. Without that, you will get lost very quick. And also guys, if you do decide to go on a bus, make sure to stop it. Hold up your hand, because I've waited once for 2 buses to come and both of them drove away because I was sitting there, because I am used to the bus actually stopping so I can get onto the bus, but not in Korea. Coming to the culture, which I think is always a very interesting topic. And guys, this is a beautiful culture. You see the culture between the old generation and the new generation. I think this is just brilliant to look at. You see such a difference, and yet they collaborate very closely with one another to get the most success, which I think is just beautiful. I think they work really hard for what they want to achieve, and you can really see they always put a lot of effort in all their work. Whether I was in Seoul or whether I was in Busan, I really noticed that the city was also music driven. I think the country is just beautiful. No matter what corner you go past, there's a little bit of music everywhere, and it's just beautiful. I can also understand why. Korea has a very big background in music. I mean, look at K-pop, it's booming like crazy. However, a little bit of a fun fact is that I've heard of people in Korea that don't even know who BTS is. People my age, people younger, because it's not as big for them as it is for us. One thing I noticed about the culture is that before flying to Korea, I thought it was going to be a place where you can go shopping 24/7, which you theoretically can if you know where to go to. But for most of the shops, and I'm really talking about 95% of the shops, you are going to face with the issue that the shops are going to close at 10, 10:30 or 11 p.m. at night. And this includes on Sunday, which I think is fine because this is the same what we have in Germany. I'm just happy that you have the opportunity to also go shop on Sunday. Something that I really miss, for example, in most European countries. I think it is a must slowly, because it's so terrible that you plan something, but you can't do it because the shops or the place you want to go to is closed. The culture is a little bit shocking at times when you think about it. For example, it is not very common for people there to open the door for you. You would walk with a little bit of a norm, hold the door open for people, but they won't even say thank you. For them, they don't really care. I had 2 cases where I had thick glass panels, nearly hit my nose, and it was a little bit of an interesting thing because in my head I always thought that people are going to keep the door open for me, but that is not the case in Korea. It's a little bit different, you'll get used to it, and once you get used to it, you don't hold doors open anymore either, but that's okay. People don't expect it from you, which I think is totally fine. The last part that I want to talk about, I think is the most interesting, is actually food. I think food is the most essential thing when you travel anywhere. It has to be good or else you're gonna starve. So you need to know what you're gonna eat. I have tried many Korean dishes prior to going to Korea, but when you go to Korea, it is still very different from reality. It is just a completely different book. For example, in Korea, I noticed that a lot of dishes are soup-based. I don't know why, but all the restaurants that I went into, a lot of these things were based in soups. For example, I thought I ordered a rice dish, but instead I got a liquid dish, which was still fine. It was super tasty, and I've had this before as well. I noticed that Koreans tend to add their rice to the soups and then eat it like this, which is also really fine. Like I said, it was tasty, but it was a little bit of a shocker, and that is something that will help you with understanding that you need to translate what you're going to order. Sometimes there is a picture, but please just translate it for your sake. We went out for dinner with a friend, for example, as well, and we went to a seafood restaurant. It was unbelievably fresh and super delicious, and I couldn't really complain about the food. Then again, it was again soup-based, which was, in my opinion, just a shame. I thought we had an option between, souping it, grilling it, or do what you want with it. But this was all soup-based, where you put it into the spicy water and you boil it away. It was tasty, but I didn't expect it. But this is something that you just take along with it. And this is also something that I noticed with other people who went to Korea, that when you order food, it can be very different than what you expected. Of course, you will also have all your big chains in Korea, Starbucks, Burger King, McDonald's, KFC. But forget that. Get yourself some Korean fried chicken. Get that golden crispy stuff, because that is tasty. You can find it on every corner, but it's so delicious. And it also seems to be loved by the Koreans themselves, because they will sell it everywhere. Whether it is from a chain company or whether it's someone just making it fresh on the beach, it is just fantastic. And it's also nice to see how much they love this food. It is just beautiful. For the rest, guys, the big question is, should you go to Korea? And the simple answer is yes. It's a very interesting country with a very interesting history, and you can really just see that the history is still present in the country, mixing the old with the new. The old generation mixing with the new generation. Speaking to someone older and to speaking to someone younger is going to be a very different story. An older person is going to be very different, because the younger generation is all about doing more and get the most out of their life, while these people are really about survival. I have seen it was a little bit of a sad story, but I just got told it was a norm that the elderly would even sleep in their stores to make sure that it's running non-stop, that there's always someone available, that no one would steal their stock, no one would steal their vegetables. And I think for me it was a little bit heartbreaking, but when someone explained to me that this is just a cultural thing, I thought this was beautiful. So yeah, guys, if you're gonna go to Korea, I would just say do it. Don't be scared. Get yourself some translation apps. Make sure to basically plan yourself a route on what you wanna do to a certain extent, so you don't waste time looking at directions, because this is actually a time killer. And if you're only there for 10 days, 7 days, 2 weeks, it is still your time in another country, and you can do something more valuable with it. When it comes to hotels, there is a plenty amount of options there, whether you can go for budget options or more expensive options. Everything is there. But then again, like I like to do it, and this is a small tip from me, if you can, try to always go a little bit more central, so you do not have to travel so far. Because I did notice that if you do take a hotel that's a little bit out of the central part, it can take you some time to get there. And I'm really talking about half an hour up to an hour to get into the shopping area, which is something you could avoid, but that is something you need to plan for yourself and see if it is something that you want to do or not. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, then please make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe for the next video. And if you want me to talk a little bit more about Korea, then please just ask me in the comments below, or meet me on Twitch, because there I can answer you directly. And I really love traveling myself, and I also want to make this a little bit more of an experience mini-series once again. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a fun time. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting the channel. And I'll see you on the next video.